form. I don't have, and I'm going to go ahead and get us started, and then I've asked Counselor Abbott for 2 or 3 minutes to pinch hit for me, and I need to go down the hallway to get. I left a file down there. So
Okay, but we
let's
need
go ahead with
Mr.
item number
Hilliard.
one, the
Don't,
annexation item.
we need Mr. Hilliard to join us before you leave.
Okay, I thought okay. Well, I'll stay till he gets here. We could let's go ahead with item number one, Mr. Gambrell.
Yes, sir. So yeah, the first item on the agenda here is an annexation item. The zoning for this was previously approved by ZAC and by the P&Z, but we're now hearing the annexation item associated with the case. I'm going to go ahead and read a few items off of this report, and then we'll move forward as you desire. So this is an annexation for an address at 7273 and 7277 Cava Valley Road. The development and land use request is by Mr. Jim Beatty, representing Capstone Properties, and his request for the annexation of the two properties that are located on Cava Valley Road is mentioned. They are located currently in unincorporated Shelby County and adjoining the Overton neighborhood in the city of Birmingham. The site also abuts the city of Birmingham and the nearby Grainstone subdivision. The site is within proximity to the St. Vincent's 119 Medical Campus and Tattersall Park retail development. Just as some context and landmarks, it is the intent of Capstone to resurvey the parcels with a goal of developing a 170-unit rental development comprised of individual cottages and townhomes. In addition, the applicant will seek to rezone these properties from B2 and HZD in Shelby County to D5 multifamily within the city of Birmingham. The method of annexation, these parcels will be annexed through 6 separate applications. Each application is for a portion of the subject property, which will extend no further than halfway toward the boundary of the property that will eventually be annexed within the city of Birmingham. So, I'm sorry, it's within the city of Hoover in compliance with Section 114221 of the Code of Alabama. Each application will be scheduled and heard separately until all the properties are annexed within the city. So you got the whole chunk. They'll take half in one ordinance and then take the next half and the next half in 6 subsequent applications until the whole portion that they would like to annex will be annexed into the city. And I'll just go ahead and mention that this annexation works with the pre-zoning that we've already recommended through P&Z, and that pre-zoning allows for this annexation to occur within 180 days of the approval of the pre-zoning. So this annexation would need to occur within that 180 days after the full council adopts the rezoning for the case. And like I say, it's a pre-zoning. That pre-zoning would become effective once the annexation is complete. And then the next section I wanted to read off of here is the staff's recommendation. And so the Department of Planning, Engineering, and Permits has examined the proposed annexation case, and the opinion of staff is the proposed rezoning for these properties would not be in conflict with the existing comp plan, adopted future land use plan map for the Northeast Framework area. The parcels across 119 that lie within the city of Birmingham are currently zoned C2 general commercial and have been developed into large campuses for place of worship and multifamily housing. The applicant will be responsible for completing any required applications for potential rezoning, which they've done, and then also likewise for the annexation into the city. And I believe they have filed these petitions and they're on record with the city. In addition, the Department of Planning and Engineering permits require any further development of these parcels will be in compliance with development regulations established by the Birmingham Waterworks Board as it relates to density, soil erosion, stormwater control, and landscaping. I believe there's a buffer requirement that is proposed and that would meet those standards. The Department of Planning, Engineering, Permits, as part of this investigation, annexation request solicited information from other departments within City Hall to assess the potential impact of the annexation. And those reports you'll see here. I'm not going to read through each and every one, but if you do have questions, we certainly would be willing to attempt to answer those. You'll see how each department responded to our query, and we generated this report for your benefit. So that's my report. I believe we generally support the annexation and the rezoning, and I would turn it back over to the committee. I also know that I believe Charlie Beavers is on the call representing the developer. I believe you're muted, Valerie.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, Charlie Beavers, and we are here on behalf of applicant to answer any questions that you might have, and happy to get into any details you might like. Did y'all hear me okay?
I heard you, yes, sir. Valerie may have some questions. I think she's unmuting her phone now.
Yeah, I did take myself off mute. That's always very helpful, but I don't see Mr. Hilliard on the call, and Mr. Parker.
I'm here, ma'am. I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I was looking
Yes.
for you and I didn't see your name pop up, so I thought you weren't here. Okay, well, then we can go ahead and hear from the attorney if there's anything in addition to what was told us by Mr. Gambrell. Is there any other information we need to know?
We believe, thank you, Councilor Abbott, and thank you very much, Councilor Hilliard, and I know Councilor Parker stepped away, and for the staff for setting this up and getting us on the agenda. We appreciate it very much. Just to reiterate, we will, of course, the property's already been zoned pre-annexation, and so the council, as well as this committee, have all seen it and heard a detailed presentation about the development. But the status is now, as Mr. Gambrell indicated, we need to go forward with the annexation process just to finish this up. We have 180 days from the approval by the council of the rezoning to do that, and we'll have to do it in steps. And we filed 6 different petitions for annexation because we go halfway between the borders of Birmingham and Hoover to accomplish a step-by-step annexation. That will be 6 different petitions. We'll go halfway, then we'll go halfway again and halfway again until we achieve the annexation of all the property that is necessary for the protections and for the development as was presented to the council and approved by the council for rezoning.
Okay, thank you. Well, I know from the rezoning hearing that I have all of my questions answered because I asked them all during the rezoning. So I'll just ask Councilor Hilliard if you have any additional questions or if we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I'm ready for a motion. I have no additional question.
Okay, well, if you would like to make a motion.
Yes, Madam President, I move that we accept this and pass it on to the full council.
Well, I'll second that motion. Mr. Gambrell, do we need to add anything else to our motion and second before we vote?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so we are ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So that's unanimous, and
All
so
right.
that item passes, and we'll go on to our next agenda item.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much. We appreciate y'all very much. Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you soon. We'll see you at the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we are ready for our next item.
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to transition to some zoning items here. The first one is ZAC 2020-2. It's in the Glen Iris neighborhood. And this is a request to rezone property from B5 Mixed Business District to C2. That's an applicant by Ray Jones, application by Ray Jones, and the site address is 488 Palisades Boulevard, which is the Palisades Shopping Center there. And so you can see some maps on your screen, and I'm going to read from the report. The property, the subject property is currently Zone B5, as mentioned. The proposed rezoning is proposed for the Palisades Shopping Center from the regional finance tenant to the east end of the property. Abutting the subject property to the north is vacant and is heavily wooded property, Zone B5. To the south is a mix of commercial uses, including extra space storage, Marathon Gas, etc., all Zone B5. To the east of the property is the Alden Apartments, Zone B5. The Mark I Car Wash is also south of the property, likewise Zone B5. The remainder of the Palisades Shopping Center to the west of the property is likewise Zone B5, including a Walmart neighborhood market. The applicant plans to redevelop the former Virginia College portion of the shopping center. The project will contain a nationally branded new and used car dealership and service department. In addition, 1 to 2 new to market automotive brands would also be accommodated at the site. There are ongoing discussions to solve all portions of the building. Structural engineer architect have been hired to vet this further. Typical hours of operation will be 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday for sales and 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday for service. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as general commercial. This land use category is characterized by commercial service uses, general large retail uses, restaurants, food stores. Additional uses include hotel, motel, movie theater, office, schools, multifamily. This property is a north side, south side framework plan. The plan identifies this property as general commercial and recommends the zoning be changed to C2. B5 does not exist in the future or in the current zoning ordinance that's been adopted since 2015. The proposed rezoning request is consistent with a long-range land use plan. The applicant's site plan shows tenant spaces equaling 172,000 square feet as the proposed car dealership. The total parking required would be 345 spaces. The shopping center has ample parking spaces on the portion being rezoned. And then the requirement for all tenants throughout will be 716. So there's ample parking for all tenants as well. Subdivision action is not required unless the proposed car dealership wants to include all of its property on one lot. All landscaping must be complied with as according to the ordinance. And the staff has recommended the rezoning is consistent with the land use plan, so therefore it is recommended. You'll see a report from the neighborhood. Glen Iris Neighborhood Association met on February 3rd, 2020 to review and did not take a vote at that time. Then they met again at a regular meeting on March 2nd, 2020 and voted to recommend approval with 1-2 condition for a site plan. The ZAC, the Zoning Advisory Committee, met at its regular scheduled meeting on February 4, 2020 and voted to recommend approval. And actually, the Planning and Zoning Committee has heard this case before on July 15th of 2020 and voted to recommend approval with the following 2 conditions. This item was delayed for some time, and we wanted to bring it back to the P&Z prior to going to council, just to make sure everybody was on the same page and had ample time to answer questions or query the developer. And so that concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Parker. I see that you're back.
Yes, ma'am, I am. Thanks.
And I have a I guess
Yes,
a
ma'am.
comment if this is the time to make it.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
And that is simply that the Glen Iris Neighborhood Association did vote in favor of this, but they wanted someone to come back to the neighborhood meeting after the details were known to tell those details to the neighborhood association, because, you know, it was all shrouded in mystery. Nobody knew who the dealership was, and it was a secret, and nobody really knew much about the details. And I think the people in the neighborhood just want to be informed So I want to make sure that that is a requirement, since we had a commitment previously and the neighborhood president said no one ever contacted him about coming back to the neighborhood and revealing details. So I just want to throw that into the mix because I would be in the flames if I didn't say that.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I understand, and I was just listening to President Abbott, and I want to say that I'm very proud of the fact that they're repurposing this mall. You know, around the country, malls are becoming vacant everywhere, and I for a long time wondered what would they do with all of this available real estate. But I see there are great minds at work, and I think this is an excellent opportunity for Birmingham and to be able to keep and to get another dealership within our boundaries is and it's absolutely a blessing to have that happen. So I like what I see, and I was with it the last time, and I'm ready whenever you are, Mr. President.
okay. Let me ask Ray Jones, will you be able to attend the next meeting to provide some additional information?
Yes, sir. Thank you again, all the council here. Working on this project quite. I believe Eddie Stivers is on the phone as well. Eddie and I spoke earlier, and I know the last time we spoke, we offered to meet, or Eddie offered to come back to the neighborhood association. So we just need to get that set up for you. Eddie or I will reach out to you separately and schedule that, okay?
Okay, that'll be fine. I had told the neighborhood president that y'all would be contacting him, but he said he
Okay.
never heard from anyone, and he's kind of hard to catch, but with all this modern technology, we ought to be able to hook up.
No, we can get that figured out for sure. So I will reach out to you after this hearing and try to schedule that, okay?
Yeah, because I know Mr. Stivers did make some commitments about noise and lighting and things, and those are things the neighborhood wants to hear. And so
Yep.
we need to get that meeting set up, and I think everybody will be satisfied.
All right, certainly.
You never want to cut out a neighborhood association out
No,
of the process. That
Mm, Interesting.
makes people unhappy.
So,
especially not when they're customers.
Well, that's right. And I'm a customer, so
That's
and
right.
and though we're losing, and I guess Adamson is now Stivers, but this will be so much larger than what Adamson had downtown. And then I assume that the city of Birmingham will go out and recruit another car dealership to take the Adamson place. So,
This is really going to be a cool experience once Eddie gets finished with it and we get finished with the facade work and the other improvements we're doing to the center. I think everyone on the call will be happy. So
that's good.
all right, so
Mr.
we'll go ahead
Parker,
and
would
move.
you like a motion?
I would.
Okay, well, my motion is that we approve this zoning change and recommend it to the full council with the caveat that the applicants will appear before the neighborhood association one more time to make sure that they understand what is coming and what commitments have been made.
Second,
Okay, well, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Okay, all right, that item passes to the full council. Mr. Gambrell, your next case.
Yes, sir. The second zoning item on the agenda today is ZAC 2021-2. It's located in Hooper City. It's an application for a change in zone district boundaries from C2 General Commercial District to I1 Light Manufacturing District, filed by Randall Minor, representing the owner, Daniel Payne LLC, for the property located at 225 Daniel Payne Drive. The proposed use is a construction and development of an office warehouse building. Excuse me. The subject property sits on approximately 30 acres of land on the north side of Daniel Payne Drive. North of the property is vacant land, portion zone D3. To the west of the site is a vacant land zoned I-4. And then the Flying J Travel Center in Denny sits to the south of the site. The property to the east of the site is outside the city limits of Birmingham. The applicant is proposing to construct a new office warehouse and delivery facility, approximately 225,000 square feet. This location has great access to major regional transportation networks, as is located within a mile of I-65, I-22 interchange and within 2 miles of I-65, I-59, and I-20 interchange. The proposal includes access to the site from Daniel Payne Drive, Seriton Drive, and Campbell Lane. Stormwater will be managed on a site with 2 basins, and the site will include interior and exterior landscaping. It is likely that there will be multiple tenants, most likely in the office, warehouse, distribution, and value-added assembly areas. These expected tenants would include an HVAC supply company, a packaging-related company, a hardware-related company, auto parts-related company, and a company related to the new electric vehicle industry. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as light industrial, and therefore the proposed rezoning request is consistent with a long-range land use plan. The applicant will need to go through the subdivision process to dedicate additional right-of-way and combine all the property into one lot. The applicant's site plan shows the 225,000 square foot building. The parking requirement for the warehouse is 1 per 2,000 square feet of gross floor area, and for the office use, it equals 1 to 400 square feet of office area. Therefore, the required amount of parking is 115 spaces. The applicant's site plan shows 131, and in this case, they exceed the maximum allowed by 16 spaces, and therefore they will have to deal with their zoning ordinance for the overage there. The development must meet all landscaping requirements and according to the zoning ordinance. This includes preliminary landscaping as well as interior and any buffering requirements that may be necessary. The Birmingham Department of Transportation states that all driveways, sidewalk permits will be required in new construction or redevelopment must comply with BDOT requirements. Stormwater likewise reported that they would have to meet the requirements of the stormwater ordinance, and the staff's recommendation is it states that it is consistent with the future land use plan and has merit for approval. This is located in Hooper City, and that neighborhood association held a regular scheduled meeting on 5/3/2021, voted to approve the proposed rezoning request with some key conditions that are listed as follows. The vote was 4 to approve and 0 to deny. The Framework Plan Implementation Committee in this area for North Birmingham, the Business Redevelopment Subcommittee of the North Birmingham Framework Plan met on May 14, 2021, and voted to support the request with the following key conditions. And the vote in that case was 5 approved and 0 denied. You can see the Q conditions that were listed. The Zoning Advisory Committee met at its regular scheduled meeting on May 25th, 2021, and voted to recommend approval of the applicant's request subject to the Q conditions as listed. And that would conclude our report on this case.
Okay, all right. With that, is the applicant available?
Yeah, Council Parker, is Randall Minor here.
Hey, how you doing, sir? Good.
How you doing? And we've also got 2 representatives of the ownership and development team, Mark Byers and Mark Eason.
Okay, you want to kind of give us update on things and
Sure. I think Mr. Gambrell hit pretty much everything. This is it would be a new development coming in, 225,000 square feet. That's kind of the marquee item. The development group, they're experts in this sort of development, and so any kind of question that you may have on that, they can speak to it. They've been looking at developing this for some time. For all the reasons that Tim mentioned, the location, some of the emerging trends in the economy, they're ready to move now. And there are other plans in conjunction with this that hopefully if this is successful, there'll be more developments like this in this area. We've met with the neighborhood really since August of last year, just to make sure that their concerns were addressed. And this property was previously looked at a couple of years ago for a similar development. And so we kind of picked up some of the same learnings from the neighborhood about things that they were concerned about. And so the queue conditions that are reflected in the staff report were in addition to some of the queue conditions that were previously proposed. And the applicant, the ownership group is comfortable with those queue conditions, and they're ready to go and answer any questions that you guys may have.
Okay. Counselor Abbott will go first. Let you go first, and then Counselor Hilliard.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, the queue conditions recommended, I guess this is by the staff, are a little different from the ones that the ZAC had, and the difference is that there's a double A multifamily dwellings of 5 units or more, and BB college or university added. And I just wondered if anybody really thought a college or university was going to be put on that property.
Let's see.
I mean, I was just wondering the reason for those, the addition of that AA and BB. Curiosity more than anything.
I would have to ask other staff why those two were added.
Tim, this is Colin Alexander. I can speak a little to that.
Yes, sir. Please do.
The ZAC opted to include all of the conditions that were recommended by both the implementation committee and the neighborhood. So that's,
Hold on.
and the neighborhood recommended not including the university or the mixed family.
Colin,
Yes.
hold on for a second. I just want to pause. There's some chatter. Someone else had muted their computer, I think.
Can you give me?
Okay.
Sorry about that. My desk is at the counter here. So the ZAC, when we met, opted to include all of the queue conditions that were recommended by both the implementation committee and the neighborhood. The neighborhood had included university and the multifamily with 5 units, while the implementation committee had not. So those were added to the list the implementation committee had included.
That's fine, Mr. President. I was just curious to know, what the difference was, but I understand now. And I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. Counselor Hilliard.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Of course, this is in District 9, and we're excited to have this development going on in the community, and always good to have new corporate partners in our area. Mr. President, I've gone over this with Randall Mine and his team and others. I am in favor, and at the proper time, like to offer a motion.
Okay. All righty. Well, I think we're at that time now, so you want to make a motion? You can.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we now vote this on to the full council and in essence of economic development
With the queue conditions.
with the queue conditions and everything included.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, that item passes. Okay. Thank you all. All right. Mr. Gambrell?
Yes, sir. So our third zoning case today is ZAC 2021-8, and this is in the Norwood neighborhood, and it's an application to change zone district boundaries from CR5 contingency multi-dwelling district to CB2 contingency general business district. Oh, and CB2, sorry, to C2 general commercial district. In order to construct a new convenience store, this has been filed by Jimmy Plott, representing the owner David Bowers at 12th Avenue Properties LLC for the property located at 3020 12th Avenue North. And the proposed use is a new convenience store. The subject property is 1.04 acres and is currently zoned CB2 and CR5. Abutting adjacent to subject property to the north is zoned R3 single family district. To the south is the old McDonald's restaurant, which is zoned CB2. To the east of the property is Texaco Gas Convenience Store, which is zoned CB2, and the proposed real estate office, which per ordinance 2040G was recently rezoned to a mixed-use medium district. To the west of the property is Saul's Hot Dog, Zone ZP2, and 3 property zones CR5, which are multifamily dwelling districts. The applicant's proposed plan is to demo the existing Shell convenience store and build a new modern convenience store. The usual convenience items will be sold, including sodas, coffee, snack, candy, etc. Of course, there'll be petroleum products dispensed at this location as well. Proposed hours of operation 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as a mixed-use low district. The mixed-use low district is designed to be compact, walkable, and contain residential and commercial areas, often in a Main Street environment. The proposed rezoning request is somewhat inconsistent with a long-range land use plan. However, the North Side, South Side framework plan, which is in progress, recommends that the future land use plan for this location be changed to mixed-use medium district. According to the framework plan, the mixed-use medium land use category is similar to those listed in mixed-use low, but with a provision for up to 5-story buildings, artisanal industries, small warehouse that may be characterized as light industry or light manufacturing, but that do not have noise, odor, elimination, trucking, or other adverse impacts on adjacent land uses. A convenience store is permitted in C2 with conditions. The zoning ordinance states the following conditions which must be met. You can see those, some setbacks and different things there. The applicant's proposed site plan shows 15 parking spaces. The parking requirement for general retail business or service is 1 per 300 square feet of gross floor area, and therefore the total number of parking spaces required is 12. However, with a 10% bus stop reduction and required parking for this site would actually be 11 spaces. Therefore, the proposed site plan would exceed the maximum required by 3, and those additional spaces would need to be comply with the ordinance to deal with some stormwater there. The 12th Avenue North Commercial Revitalization District. This property is located within that district, and all permits will need to be reviewed by a design review committee. The city stormwater staff recommends that any new construction or redevelopment would have to comply with the post-construction ordinance and zoning parking requirements, and they would need to meet with the stormwater staff to discuss that and review plans. The Birmingham Department of Transportation states minimum driveway spacing is 70 feet from intersections. Only 1 driveway cut is allowed per street. Maximum driveway width is 24 feet. 6 feet ADA compliant sidewalks with 80 ramps will be required, and a landscape buffer will be required along the entire length of 12th Avenue North and 31st Street. Likewise, all landscaping must comply with the requirements of the zoning ordinance prior to an issue of a permit. All necessary permit and license required by City of Birmingham must be approved and obtained prior to opening. The applicant's rezoning request is not entirely consistent with the future land use plan. However, the rezoning request does have merit for approval since the North Side, South Side framework plan recommends the future land use be changed to mixed-use medium for this property. The applicant is proposing to build a commercial development while attempting to maintain the character of the surrounding uses and adhering to the long-range land use plan. Staff recommends approval for the rezoning request. The Norwood Neighborhood Association held a meeting on March 27, 2021 to review the proposed project and voted to continue to their next meeting while they had questions and concerns were addressed. That meeting was held on April 24, 2021. Proposed project was recommended with the following 2 conditions, and the vote was 17 to approve and 0 to deny. You can see the list of cues that were offered by the neighborhood. The property is located within the South Side, North Side framework plan area. Framework plan implementation for this area has not been formed at this time. The Zoning Advisory Committee met at its regular scheduled meeting on May 25, 2021 and voted to recommend approval of the applicant's request subject to the following key conditions as listed. And that concludes our report. Counselor, I believe you're muted.
Oh, no, I said, is Mr. Plott available or someone from?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I saw their name on here earlier. I'm not seeing Mr. Plott listed. No, here we go.
Okay.
Ms. Garner may have had to add him in.
Counselor, I have unmuted Jimmy Plott, and he is part of the panelist list. So if he's on the call and able to hear us, he should be able to speak now.
Mr. Plott? Okay. Mr. Plott? All right. Mr. Plott? Okay. Let me say this is in Norwood in District 4, and so we're excited about, obviously, Mr. Bowers and others coming to the district. So we're, and also with the queue conditions being put on. Mr. Plott, are you back with us? Ms. Gambrell, do you know?
I do not. I would imagine we have a contact for him. If we need to give him a call, we probably are doing that or can do that now.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just move to just the table item 3 and bring it right back up. We'll move on to item 4. We'll just table item 3 until we can get him on the phone, or if he needs to call in, or however he needs to do, just so we can hear from him.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna move to table item 3. So let's move on to item 4. And once we do that, we do have some speakers from the Woodlawn Neighborhood Association.
Yes, sir. Okay, we will move on to ZAC 2021-9. This is a case located in the Robrook Springs neighborhood. And this is an application to change zone district boundaries from mixed use high to light manufacturing district in order to construct a new advanced auto parts, retail, and warehouse facility, filed by Ashley Klein, representing the owner, Elsie Gurley, for the property located at 9125 and 9127 Parkway East. This is a proposed use to build a new advanced auto part, retail, and warehouse facility. As mentioned, subject properties contain approximately 2 acres, currently zoned mixed use high, abutting adjacent to subject property to the north is zoned mixed use high as well. To the south of the property is Interstate 59, and also to the south of the property. Oh, I'm sorry, and to the south of the interstate. Oh, I'm sorry. So across the interstate, it appears it's zoned D1 single family district. To the east of the property is Dr. Daniel A. Nick's office. So there's an office located there, which is zoned mixed use high. To the west of the property is Gallery Smoke Tobacco Shop, which is also currently zoned mixed use high. The applicant's proposed plan is to combine the 2 parcels for the construction of the advanced auto parts retail and warehouse facility. The 2 parcels are contiguous and provide frontage along Parkway East at the southwest corner of Parkway East and Eubank Street. The combined area of the parcels is 1.96 acres. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as mixed-use high. This district is designed to accommodate medium to high-density office, residential, retail, artisanal industries, small warehouse that may be characterized as light industry that do not have noise, odor, illumination, trucking, or other adverse impacts to adjacent land uses. This district will also include entertainment areas and maybe transit accessible. The ground floor area use is encouraged. The proposed rezoning request is somewhat consistent with the long-range land use plan in the sense that retail is a permitted use by right and warehouse use is permitted with conditions. The applicant's proposed site plan shows 25 regular parking spaces, 2 handicap spaces for a total of 27. The applicant's proposal includes 10,527 square feet of warehouse storage space, 5,243 square feet of retail space, and 230 square feet of office space. The parking requirements for the warehouse, 1 to 2,000 gross floor area. The office at a rate of 1 to 400 for gross floor area. The parking requirement for the retail would be 1 to 500. And the zoning ordinance states that when any requirement of these regulations result in a fraction or dwelling, well, so let's see. So therefore, the total number required based on the uses and the square footage is 13. Therefore, the proposed site plan would exceed the maximum requirement by 14 spaces. The additional spaces will have to comply with the rezoning ordinance as it requires, or as it regards stormwater control. The applicant's site plan shows a dumpster located in the front yard off of Eubanks. And so that will be an issue they would have to deal with through either moving it to comply or through a variance procedure. The applicant will need to either relocate the dumpster or go to ZBA. The city stormwater staff recommends construction permits shall be required, and that plans must meet the city of Birmingham stormwater post-construction ordinance. The Birmingham Department of Transportation states the maximum driveway and drive aisle is 24 feet, and the concrete driveway apron is required with a 2% maximum cross slope at the sidewalk. All landscaping must comply with the requirements of the zoning ordinance prior to permit issuance. Any necessary permit and license required by City of Birmingham must be approved prior or obtained prior to opening. Subdivision action would be required to combine the 2 parcels, and the applicant's rezoning request is somewhat consistent with the long-range land use plan. The Roebuck Springs Neighborhood Association held a meeting on April 8, 2021 to review the proposed project and voted to approve the request with the following Q conditions. Their vote was 12 to approve and 0 to deny. Adequate parking, this is the 1 Q condition, adequate parking, sidewalks, and access to Highway 11 should be on the site plan. I guess that wasn't on there previously. The Neighborhood Association gave the following reason for supporting the request. Development of this abandoned blighted property will benefit the neighborhood and community. This property is located in the Northeast Area Framework Plan, and the co-chair, Frank Hamby of the Northeast Framework Plan Implementation Committee, reviewed the proposed zoning request and supports this development. The Zoning Advisory Committee met in its regular scheduled meeting on June 1st, 2021, and voted to recommend the applicant's request subject to the following Q conditions. That concludes our report.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Gambrell. Is Ashley Klein available? Okay, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing fine. I just wanted to give us an overview from your perspective.
So, yeah, like Tim said, we're taking 2 properties and 2 vacant buildings and demoing them completely and rebuilding a 16,000 square foot building that will bring in jobs and opportunities for the area. Part of it will be warehouse, I think technically is what you call it, but a large portion of it will be retail. So there will be customers coming in and buying aftermarket parts for their vehicles or whatever they may need. And we are in talks with AlDOT about the driveway on Parkway East.
Okay. All righty. Councilor Abbott. I'm going to open the floor up.
Did you say something?
I was trying to see if there were questions from the committee.
Yeah,
Start with Councilor Abbott.
I'm trying to stay muted, and I'm doing a very good job of it.
Okay,
No, I don't have any questions at this time.
okay. All right, Council Hilliard.
No, Mr. President, I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay. All righty. Okay. All righty. Well, it's a pleasure of the committee for item number 4. This is for the Roebuck Springs project. ZAC 9.
Mr. President, I move that we send this to the full council with our recommendation.
I second it, Mr. President.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right. The item's been forwarded on. Ms. Gambrell, we're not gonna have all these all on one day, will we?
No, we will not. I think typically
Okay.
what we like to do is submit no more than 2 per council
Okay.
agenda.
Okay. All right, did we ever get Mr. Plott back?
Miss Barbara Thomas Gowdy is on the line.
How you doing?
I've been on the call the entire time, but I was muted out, so I couldn't talk or.
Okay, all righty.
Okay.
All right, this is our neighborhood president. So, Ms. Barber, you want to speak to this, to the Norwood? We're back on number 3. We were trying to speak to Jimmy Plott, but I don't know, something happened, but go right ahead, Madam President.
Well, I'm in agreement with the neighborhood, the way they voted to accept the proposal with the 2 conditions that the neighborhood recommended.
Okay, with the Q conditions. Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay. All righty. Well, that's fine. Ms. Abbott, Councilor Abbott, or Mr. Hilliard, have any questions or anything?
Mr. President, I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay.
No, I don't
Ms. Abbott.
either.
Okay. All right, is there a motion for item number 3, which is ZAC number 8?
Mr. President, I move that we move it to the full council.
With the,
Second it.
with the Q
With the Q
condition?
condition.
With the Q conditions, yeah.
Okay, I second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, the ayes have it. Okay, Madam President, that item has been forwarded to the entire council, full council. So thank you. The last under old and new business, we have 2 items. One, the neighborhood president and others from the Woodlawn neighborhood requested to speak to the council, to this committee. Understand that we will receive their information accordingly. So, Madam President, Ms. King. President
Hello,
King,
hi.
how you
Hello.
doing? Sorry, it's been a long, but got 3 minutes. Or
It's
3
okay.
minutes.
It's
Yes,
good to
ma'am.
see you, Councilman, and also to the other council, Mr. Councilor Hilliard and Councilor Abbott. It's good to see each and every one of you. I bring you greetings from the Woodlawn Neighborhood Association, and we had issues with the ZBA board. One of the issue is that we voted something down in particular to that we didn't want in our community, that we feel like it was a nuisance in our community. And we went before the ZBA board, which, they pretty much ignored us. And I have some questions, well, not questions, but I do have some lists from the residents of how they felt about the zoning board. So if you don't mind if I read those out for you guys, and then I'm gonna tell my own personal experience. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the original submission to the WNA, and this is pertaining to Hopefield Ministry, which is started off with a rehab for streetwalkers to now a worship place. The original submission to the WNA was not consistent with the submission to the ZBA, putting the neighborhoods in the dark about the issue. After having ample time to review the descriptions of Hopefield Rooms, the neighborhood rejected the motion by a 2-1 margin. The WNA rejected the notion of the non-elective board could determine a threat to the public safety and a neighborhood in which none of them resides in. The neighborhood felt a general spirit of disrespect from the board and the time allotment to express the opposition by the board. The WNA, which is the Woodlawn Neighborhood Association, feels the applicant does not have sufficient experience or knowledge of the neighborhood to be effective in this venture. And the WNA prepared to fight, and I mean, we are prepared to fight this decision in circuit court to follow by public demonstrations, rallies, and the applicants of the ZBA board. The lack of respect on this board, and me as a neighborhood officer, I have never experienced such disrespect, such unprofessionalism in my life from a committee or a board. As we were on the call trying to handle those items, which it was 10-1, by the way, the vote that was against it, 10-5, correction. We gave this particular ministry or organization several opportunities to come before us to get this situation aired out, even went before the ZBA board to explain that we wanted to postpone the first vote, which they did, and they gave us the allotment time. However, when it came back to the second vote, that really topped the cake because we decided that none of the safety issues were addressed or none of the plan was addressed. So it was a lot of things that was just disrespectful on the top, and they seemed and acted as we was not present on the call. They took away our voice. They took away our opinions. They took away our the reason of being residents in the Birmingham city. The chair was so disrespectful to where he communed back and forth with the committee and failed to even address us. And we were right here. They talked to people who wasn't even in our neighborhood. It was a total disrespect. It was total ignored us and joked and laughed about the conversation on the board. So how can we trust the ZBA board with the decisions that the community say we won't and don't want? Because right now it's a distrust. Now, I have something else to say, but I'm going to wait and allow the other candidates, the other residents, and to speak. But when I'm finished, when they finish, I will come back to that. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Wrap it up.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah, we've got some other speakers. Ms. King.
Yes, I'm calling Donna Hall, please.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Donna Hall. I have lived in Woodlawn for 35 years. It was very disheartening to hear the zoning board on our last Zoom meeting. I feel only one board member listened to our concerns. The others had their minds already made up. The disrespect for the neighborhood telling us what we need at the 9th hour, bringing others in as well. Woodlawn president was on the call and they continued to ask questions to a non-resident of Woodlawn. They started to discuss like we weren't there. Bringing up the Church of the Highlands. Church of the Highlands do not dictate to the Woodlawn community. The attorney started saying the house is a church. I feel like someone has schooled him on what to say. We need more in our community other than liquor stores, funeral homes. We need businesses that will help move our neighborhood forward. Our children, community deserves better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. President King, is there anyone else you have to speak or?
I'm not exactly sure. Is another person on this call? I can't see I know Jason was not able to get on a call because of he had a surgery, but he is our business liaison for the community. He does he's a resident of Woodlawn community, and he also works half and half with the business district. And the total level of disrespectfulness and consideration of what we consider, he was just done with it. He expressed great concerns, and that's even for the businesses that's coming forth into our community. You know, if we vote yes to something, would the ZBA vote down? Or if we vote no, would you go around us and just say it's okay, put it over in there? Would you want a rehab place for well, I'm gonna call it what it is, for prostitutes? Do you want a rehab next to your home where people can go in there and get a plate, wash up, sleep? Because it joked around and say this still a residential that 3 people can actually live there. And you know what type of organization this is. And I appreciate what Ms. Council Abbott stated, that if you go around the neighborhood and do what, you know, and make decisions and go around the neighborhood, then it's a problem. You know, we're predominantly African-American people, and we're standing up for what we want to see in our community. We don't want a liquor store. We don't want this. We don't want all of these rehab places in our community. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having rehab facilities, but when you do 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or more, it becomes a problem. We won't get sleep. We won't get rest. We have issues. And the way that this board handled our concerns, it was a disgrace. It doesn't look like, and it doesn't sound like you were working for us. And that's the way we felt. Of course, this is not the end of it. If we have to proceed further, we will. We're already in an appealing process, and we will go further if we have to. I don't like to get ugly. I would like to handle this the way it should handle, through steps and process. But however, I'm not willing to sit on this. We are not willing to sit on this. My job is to lead our neighborhood and hear the voices of my neighbors. I'm going to act accordingly with my neighbors, and we will go further if we have to. I really do appreciate you, Councilman, for hearing my concerns, our concerns of the Woodlawn Neighborhood Association, because it's not just mine, because I live here, but of our concerns, because it is a concern. And I've never seen such things of this nature. I've never seen this ever happen before. And I'm just shocked and angry and upset and disappointed. And thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President King.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to ask a question because I am unfamiliar with this case. I wanted to ask Ms. King, what was the variance that these folks were requesting? What were they asking the ZBA to give them a variance for?
It was a setback to, well, first of all, see, this is the thing. When they came before us as a safe house. That's what we were told. So when we got here talking about the safe house, we was like, well, we understand what you're saying, but we just don't think it's appropriate to have in the middle of the residential area. So next thing we know, I get on the zoning board, and it went from a ZBA, from a safe house to now a church. And I'm like, well, where did you get a church from? That's the first time we ever heard a place of worship, I was told. And this is the first time I have ever heard it, or my residents have ever heard of it until the day of. So with a church, it asks for them to do a setback, certain feet of a setback off of their property line to give them space between the churches and the houses or something of that nature there. I have it, but I'm not, I have it here, but it was a setback from with shrubbery and a buffer of that nature. Let me- Better. But again, it went from a safe house to a place of worship. So it's a special exception to allow a church in the D3, the single family dwelling district, and a variance to allow a side setback of 12.3 feet and 11.3 instead of required 25 setback, and a variance to allow the buffer requirements pursuant to the Title I, Chapter 9, Article, I think it's 6 or 5. Yeah. So the thing of this is we didn't really know. I mean, it's like we don't know what this real organization is going to be. It's all over the place. They never really came to talk to residents that lived in the Woodlawn area. They talked to people that lived in South Woodlawn. They talked to people who has no investment here in our community. And then when we talked back and forth with them to get an understanding, we were very transparent, I would say. We told them that we told them the issues that we think that they need to work on before they even went to the ZBA board. And then when they went to the ZBA board, their attorney pushed to vote for it, knowing that we asked a continuance for it, that we need to continue some dialogue between us. So it was just, Councilman Abbott, it was a mess. It really was. I mean, it was shocking. The new information that should have been submitted to us was not. It was submitted to the ZBA as if we had already discussed those information. And we got it when the ZBA allegedly got it. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. King. I just wanted to ask, I know this is in litigation, so we really can't, get into the weeds, but I did want to understand what the variance was that they were requesting. It sounded like there were several of them. So thank you.
You're welcome, and I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, President King. So with that, the other item was with the some of the neighborhoods about the entrance sign. I know this is, but they've been working on something for 2 years. So I had a request from one of the neighborhoods. So just to find out, this committee, where are we with, if we're, Zion City had the neighborhood officers have been indicating that they've been trying to get an entrance sign for a while. So I wanted just to get an idea of if this is fall under whom and find out what can we do to get this moved forward. So, Gambrell, do you have someone, or Jackson?
Yeah, Mr. Jackson was on the line, but I don't see his name anymore on the list. I believe he was
Still
here.
on the line.
Oh, okay, great.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm okay. What I'd like to say is this is the 4th location that the Zion City neighborhood has chosen. And 3 of them were not in the Zion City neighborhood. We went before the park board when they were trying to put it on Roebuck Park. But we got a location now that's going to be on the Eastern District of the Park Board. And I've submitted a request to the Department of Public Works, request permission to install the sign at the Eastern District office. I discussed it verbally with Ralph Bartlett, and he asked me to resubmit the request to Joshua Yates because his duties have now changed. I prepared a site plan that is 7% complete. Memorandum of understanding has been prepared. And as soon as I receive approval from the Department of Public Works, I will complete the site plan, submit the MOU to the neighborhood president for review and approval. But it's moving forward.
Okay. Let me ask you, do you need approval from the park board as another
I'm sorry,
option?
from the Department of Public Works.
Okay, but, so I heard you mention the park board, so do you need anything from the park board or?
No, I'm saying one of the previous locations, I submitted a request to the park board for approval. And it turned out that they were trying to install designs to the neighborhood sign in Roebuck. But I was not aware of that.
Okay, so the site that you,
Decide
okay,
that
so
it
the
could not
site
be
that you,
placed in that location.
I didn't hear what you said, Mr. Jackson.
Would you repeat that?
I couldn't hear what you said. I'm just trying to figure out where are we as it relates to the memorandum of understanding and the location. Is that what the neighborhood president and the neighborhoods, is that something they're in agreement with the site that you've selected?
Actually, the neighborhood selected site. It has been approved by the community resource representative and community development and the neighborhood. We're working toward that now. I need to get approval from the Department of Public Works to install it on City of Birmingham property.
Okay. All right, so what we'd like to do, do you have a time frame on that or timeline?
I had received approval from Ralph Bartlett, but his duties and responsibilities have changed. So he asked me to resubmit the request to Joshua Yates because they've also asked the City of Birmingham to use their resources to clean and grow up the site before installation of the sign.
Okay. All righty. Do you have any idea on the time frame?
I can't say exactly how long it will take them to clean and grow up the site, but I expect to receive approval from the Department of Public Works within the next 3 to 5 days.
Okay. All right. So what I'll do is, as we're preparing for our next meeting, we'll keep this on as a new under old business and ask for another report at our next plan and zoning meeting. And we'll just keep it on there until we can get closure.
All right.
Okay. All righty. All right. Ms. Abby, you have a motion? I think we've gotten a lot done.
But we have, this is great, and I move that we adjourn.
Okay, second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you all.